What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Cars and Things. My name is Coco, at the coolest Coco on your socials. Now, you guys probably don't know this about me, but I pretty much live on Autotrader. I am always car shopping and looking forward to my next buy. And today is no different. I want to take you guys on a journey to car shop with me. I am looking for a new car and I'll talk about the new car in a bit. But what is really cool about this video is I want to show you and I want to take you guys with me on a journey on how to buy a car on Autotrader. Now, if you like this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. Comment below, let us know, have you bought a car online? Have you used Autotrader or other platforms like Autotrader as well? How is your experience? But most importantly, please make sure you do subscribe. It means so much to us and we are growing day in, day out, which is awesome. Right next to the subscribe button, there is a bell icon. Click that so you never ever miss a video. So you may be wondering what Autotrader is, and for those that don't know, Autotrader is a marketplace where you find the best car deals in South Africa. That's where we are. Essentially, think about it as a database where you can find the best car deals. I found it to be, or rather to have, the widest and largest selection of available cars. Now, I have bought pretty much 10 cars on Autotrader, and I want to take you guys on a journey where we go shopping together. Okay, are you guys ready? Are you ready? All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, let's go. All right, everyone, before we get to shopping, I think we need to establish a few things. Now, I'm currently looking for a car that I can use to drag race legally, of course, or I'm looking for a drift machine on Autotrader right now with you. I've never done something like this before. I have bought cars that I could use for that purpose, but I feel like my cars right now are so sentimental to me, and I can't really use them for that. I do want to get something that I can participate in drag races in. I feel like I'm always missing out, but the truth is I'm always shooting content for you guys. When do I get the chance to actually drive? But I really do want to participate in all the fun, hence why I'm embarking on this mission, on this crazy idea, just so I can get the race car of my dreams. Now, I've got a few options and I want to take you guys through these options real quick. Now, to kick things off, I have got a few options that I think I want to look at. The first is a VW Golf 7.5R. Now, I know what you're thinking. I have had a 7R. How similar are they? Or not. I'm also quite interested in a Club Sport S. I'm not too sure though if I'll find one for my budget. The next cars I want to look at is, I want to look at an Audi RS3 and an RS3 pre-facelift, though I don't know within, again, my band, if I'll be able to get the new RS3. They are insane, and that would be essentially the perfect drag car. They drag queens. They are incredible. I'm also quite interested in looking at a BMW M135i or a 140. I used to own a 235 and I used to own a 240 and I loved them. So I would love to buy another one. Another interesting option as well is a Mercedes-Benz A45 AMG, but I'm looking for an edition 1. Which is really quite special. I'm also quite intrigued by other cars as well, but I'm not quite sure if I would buy one like the Ford Focus ST. I'm still not quite convinced. I haven't seen much of them, but what I have seen is they sound pretty good. They sound really good with that intake system and a nice exhaust. They sound pretty badass, but I really don't know how fast they can be. I want to be quick. The next option is a Megane RS front wheel drive. I'm also, again, not sure how they perform. They still need to prove it to me why they would be worth me buying one. at least. So we'll kind of see about that. The next other one is I've seen a lot of secret Supra purchases. Now, the Supra car is iconic in the rest of the world, in South Africa to a certain extent as well, but I don't think as much as the rest of the world. So the new Toyota Supra is one that is interesting to me, and with that I can do both. I could literally have a drift machine, but I could have a very, very strong drag car. So I'm really not too sure. There's certain brands that have convinced me and certain brands that haven't, but I know for sure that I want to look at my first 4 options. Now, are you guys ready to look at that? Before we even look at that though, let's also establish some parameters. What exactly am I looking for? And we can then look for it. All right, cool. All right, let's go. All right, so you guys know we have to identify some criteria. So the first one is I'm looking for a car that is under 450,000 Rand. I'd love to push it to 500,000, but I am looking for a deal. The cheaper the car is, the better. It's going to be absolutely great. I'm looking for a 4-door car, something practical that I could potentially use as a daily as well. But again, this car that I'm looking to buy is going to be heavily modified, so we'll really see. I would preferably love to get an all-wheel drive car. Quattro is the first choice, but I am interested in looking at others, maybe the 4Motion by VW, and then kind of looking at Mercedes system. I'm not sure at the moment. We'll see what we exactly find. But a rear-wheel drive option is also great as well, because I've seen some really great cars, especially 135s and 140s, doing incredible things on the drag strip. Again, they come with a powerful engine, so I think they're gonna be hella dope. And another thing is I'm looking obviously for a sports car, one that has crazy modification potential. A car that I can play with and play with and play with. I can punish, I can destroy, and it's just gonna take the punishment and it's just gonna keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and not gonna break on me. Talking about braking, I am looking for a car that will be reliable. I know when you start tuning cars, things kind of don't always work to plan, but I am looking for a car that is going to be super reliable and it's not going to break on me. It is possible to do. I've done it with some of my other cars as well, so it is possible to do. Again, I do want something with obviously crazy modification potential, a very strong car, but I don't want it to cost me an arm and a leg. Like, done and gone are the days where I'm spending like 250k on like car modifications and things like that. That's not my life right now. I've got a family, I've got other things, there's business, there's just too many things. So I don't want to be spending a hell of a lot of money buying car parts and modifying this and that and fixing this and that. Like, I honestly don't have the time, I don't have the patience. I'm not that type dude. I really want it like done and complete and ready to use. Cool. So if I could get that, I'll really be happy. I am looking to get a sub 10-second car. Now, I know that's a lot. Typically it is gonna cost me something. I am prepared, I am ready, and I want you guys to come with me on the journey. In terms of mileage, I am looking for something that is less. 80,000 kilometers. It may be a lot for some people, but again, let's please remember that this is a car that is pretty much always often going to be used on the drag strip, and again going back and forth to work and meetings maybe, and I typically go for that within a sort of 20-kilometer radius. It's not often very far as well, so I need something I can use for that. And then one last thing is I need something with equity. So I'm looking for a car, for example, if I'm going to buy it for 450k, I'm looking for a car that's worth 500k. I'm looking for something with equity. So when it comes to reselling the car, I'm able to resell it quite easily with all the parts back and things like that, or I might just sell it with all the parts on it. I really don't know, but this is an exciting journey and I'm so happy that you guys are joining me for this, because it's going to be absolutely back. Now that you know the criteria, let us start shopping. Now, the first thing we have to do in search of our car is go onto the Autotrader site. So it's www.autotrader.co.za. Now, I'm already on that site. What you can do as well, you don't have to use a laptop. You can download the app. I literally sometimes sleep while the app is on in search of a car, my next car. You never know when you're going to buy a car, right? So I'm always in search for it. So the first thing you need to do is go into Autotrader. And once you're on Autotrader, I've mentioned the search criteria. I've mentioned what I'm looking for. And I've literally just input it onto my screen, which you should see in a bit as well. So here's what we're looking at. I've included my search over here. I've got an Audi S3. I've thrown in an Audi TT for good measure. I've got an Audi RS3, which again I would love. I've got a BMW 1 Series as part of my criteria. I am again looking for the 135 or the 140. I've got a BMW M3, and why I have included an M3 specifically is imagine if you could have a drift machine. I've been quite intrigued by the E92. I think I've mentioned in a video before, and I've seen some incredible looking ones, and I would love to create something absolutely sick. Imagine a wide body one, that would be nuts, and do something really cool with that. I've included, as part of my search criteria as well, Mercedes AMG A45, and then again the VW Golf. I am looking at the GTI Club Sport S or the 7.5R that I'm looking over here. So once you've inputted your search criteria, I am looking at a range of about 400,000, so about 450,000. If I could save, I'd love to. I would love to. But in terms of my breakdown here, I've got from about 200,000 to about 500,000. It may give me a bit of a wide view, so let's actually take it up to 400,000 to about 500,000 because I don't get a cap of 450,000 on here. In terms of location, I've opened it up to the whole country. I want to see what's available in Durban, Cape Town, you name it. And in terms of body type, I've been very specific. I do want a hatchback, a sedan, or a sportsback. Maybe a coupe as well. Let's see what options do come up here. And then in terms of more options, I'm looking for a car that is less than 5 years old. Obviously, just from a finance point of view, I want both my capital and what the bank is going to help me with just to pay for this car. And from a finance point of view, less than 5 years is favorable. I'm looking for a car that's under 80,000 kilometers. I know what you're thinking about. It may be a lot, but this is a car potentially that I want to play with. So I'm not looking for something too new. Again, I'm not going to keep it forever. I'm probably going to keep it for about 2 years. I don't see myself keeping it for longer than that. I'm looking for, of course, an automatic. And in terms of color specifications, you guys know that I love white, but also I'm trying to start this thing of having like a black collection of cars. So, I guess I could just wrap them, right? So in terms of the selection, I have white on here, but let's just say any. Let's open it up. Any color right now will do, with the mindset that we could still wrap it in the future. I'm of course looking at a used car, and there are a few that come up here. So now once we have identified and inputted all of our search criteria, all we then need to do is we need to say search, and we start searching for the car. So let's click search. And to save time, what I'm actually going to do is there's about 96 car options that I'm getting here. But to save time, what I would actually like to do, and what I already have here, is I've already got a short list of options, some car options that you guys can kind of check out and kind of see where I've gotten to. But you could literally play around and start looking at as many cars as you want to. You can play around with the search criteria and start looking at as many cars as you want to, just to find the perfect color, the perfect spec that you are particularly looking for. But for the purpose of this video, just so it doesn't take 100 hours, we are going to get into my short list. So we have inputted all our information and we've run the search. To save time, again, I have shortlisted the cars that I'm interested in looking at a bit further. Let's have a look. So the first one that I've got on here is a 2016 VW Golf GTI Club Sport. It's not a Club Sport S, but I think these look so good. And for 424, I am quite intrigued about this. The mileage is still quite high though, at 76,000 for that price. I'd love to get this at about 380,000. I know it's a bit of a push. I am a fantastic negotiator, but for me, that would make it worth it. Again, this is a front-wheel drive car, so I'm really not too sure what I can achieve with it. Some of the reading here says an iconic badge, the Golf GTI. We know that in South Africa. So this is VW's 40th anniversary edition, which is called the Club Sport. I didn't know that. That's quite interesting. Cool. It's got 195 kilowatts. Oh, okay. All right. That's quite interesting. It's a front wheel drive car. Again, I'm not too sure how that will do in a drag race, but I do know that VW in particular has mad power potential, and you can really play with them. So I've been quite interested in the Club Sport. I think they look good. I can't seem to see a Club Sport S on here though. I know I was chancing within my budget, because those right now are probably going for about like 600, if I'm not mistaken, for about 600-700 at the moment. Apparently those are meant to be collector's cars. So again, do I want to buy a collector's car and then kind of modify the heck out of it? I don't know, but I've been quite interested in this particular one, which really looks quite good to me. But I don't know if I'm a GTI type dude, but we'll really see. That's quite interesting. I'd love to see a 7.5R. Again, I think I'm pushing it with my budget. There was one that I saw though, which was going for about 450 at the time. I did look into it. I did call the dealership just so you guys know, just to see if that car was available, and I found out that that car was sold. So it was quite interesting to see a 7.5R. There's a few that I've seen that look pretty cool. When it comes to the Club Sports, a friend of mine called Dan owns one of these, which are really cool. Dan, you need to let me test drive your car, bro. But the 7.5, I've been really intrigued in. I did own a Golf 7, so the differences between them, I don't know. Are they big? Are they not so big? But again, when it comes to power, we've seen some crazy ones. Like one that I've seen a lot of is there's an off-white Golf 7.5R that looks absolutely sick and it's pretty quick. And then, of course, there's Hulk's 7.5R, which is mad as well. So that's quite interesting. I hope I can find one. I am going to keep looking, though, for a 7.5R specifically. But again, I'm not too sure because I've owned a Golf R before. Do I want to own another Golf R? Yes. No. How many times would you buy a car? Now, I've bought a few cars more than twice, so I don't think it's a bad thing. If you love it, you love it. Let's look at our other option. So I've also found a 2015 Audi RS3 sedan for sale. This one is going for about 420k, and it is black. This would match the collection. If you remember, I am looking to buy all black cars. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm not too sure on the interior though at the moment. I'm not a fan of the black and the red as well. If I had to get this car, I'd probably change that. I think at some point it might become a bit too much for me. I always do want the color palettes to kind of go together very seamlessly, like just to be like kind of like undertoned and not too loud. Unless this is the car that I make loud, which I could potentially. This one in particular has got 50,000 Ks on the clock. And these, you've seen them, like, I mean, you've seen these cars do like great numbers, and there's sort of crazy power potential that comes with this. But again, it is a 2-liter. I'd love to get a 2.5. That's why I would love to get an RS3. Those are pretty sick. These have 206 kilowatts. Okay. All right. So we've got some power. We have got some power over here. We previously looked at, I think here we had about 190, 195. We are going up here. We have 206 kilowatts. This is an all-wheel drive car. It's got that Audi Quattro system, which is incredible for drag races as well. So this, I think, would be a decent buy. At the price that it's going at with 50,000 kilometers, I'm not too sure yet. Maybe I can negotiate that down, maybe to about 400. But I think this is clean in all black, and we can add some carbon fiber parts to it and make it stick out and then modify the heck out of it. So this is quite interesting. Cool. This is quite interesting. Let's look at what else is here. Aha! Remember I told you guys I was going to be adding an Audi TT. Now, upon my search, I wasn't looking at coupes, and I then said, let me click on coupes, let me actually see what is going to come up. And I saw this 2016 Audi TTS coupe. It looks heat. It absolutely looks heat. I contacted, funny enough, this dealership just to see if this was real before I shot this video, just to see if it was real. This one, however, is over the threshold that I am looking at. You know, I am looking at less than 80,000 kilometers. This one in particular has 120,000. And the pictures they sent back to me, it looked so good. There were these high quality images, close-up images. So thank you to the auto agents for sending me that. And the car looked crisp. So this one in particular, it's got like the full service history, and we have seen TTs. I mean, we've seen Thanos, we've seen Stunner's TT. These TTs have incredible potential. They have got incredible potential, and they are so quick. They are super quick. Think about the light body and the all-wheel drive that this thing comes in. And they're quite comfortable as well. I've test driven a few RSs, and they are comfortable. I mean, Audis are really comfortable as well. I think BMWs come with a different kind of driving experience that comes with that. So it's more dynamic, it's a bit harder. And I typically enjoy that, but I'd love to have the best of both worlds, which is having then BMWs and then having an Audi. I'll consider one or two. So this is quite interesting. This I'm intrigued by to find out more. Again, it is over the kilometers I'm looking for, but this could be really interesting. Because when it comes to resale value, I've seen that sort of TTSs and S3s as well as RS3s, more particularly RS3s, they hold value really, really well, which is why within the selection, I found zero. I found the pre facelift, but that's not what I'm looking for. But when I searched again, the next option I found was a 2016 BMW 1 Series, a 135, going for 419,000. Okay, but essentially, let's just say 420,000. All right, this one looks pretty clean. Okay, 2016 mileage 78,000. You can still play with it. You know, an in-performance exhaust would have been great on this one. Okay, we got full franchise service history. It's always great, so always look out for that, because you can then trace back what has been done to your car. So that's pretty cool. Of course, it's 3 liter, 240 kilowatts. Okay, I thought these are about 230 or 235 kilowatts. Okay, cool, 240 kilowatts. I thought that was a M140, but that's cool, that's interesting. These, again, are rear-wheel drive cars. So this particular spec is quite plain, so I'd have to do a lot to this car. And there's a few things that are coming to mind. Would I make it black? I'm not too sure. But yeah, this looks pretty clean as well. What I'm not too sure of, and if you look clearly on this picture, this bonnet is either not closed properly or it can't close properly. Maybe the car was in an accident, which is why if you are a dealership and you're looking at this, please make sure that your pictures are absolutely crisp, because we are looking at Autotrader and other platforms like it to find cars that are complete, to find the best cars, but also again to find the best deals as well. And the images that we look at over here, then kind of, you know, our interest develops from there and we could potentially make a purchase. So I'm always looking for images that are cool, where we can see a bit of detail on the car. But again, the image is not meant to be the end all and the be all. I'd always recommend that you go to the dealership. Once you're then interested and you put in a request, go to the dealership and actually look at the car, test drive the car as well. And in talking about that, make sure you take a friend with you. Just for a second opinion. And if you can't take a friend with you, or maybe you're buying a car, for example, at a dealership where the motor plan has expired and you're not too sure what to look out for, contact your sort of local mechanic and your trusted mechanic to come with you. They may charge you just a little bit just to come with you, but it will be worth it, because you are looking at buying a reliable car. You don't want to get like a check engine light after buying this car and spending so much money on it. This is not like, it's not like a crazy lot of money. At the same time, it is a lot of money. It's close to R500,000 that you're going to be spending on this thing. You want to make sure that you make the right decision, and I want to make sure I make the right decision as well. So now the next option that I saw was an M140. I've been quite interested in these. I've seen a really hot one on social media, 333 Cat. I actually met the owner of that page and the car, and it really looks that way in person. So I'd really want to create something very similar to that. I think the car looks absolutely amazing, and this one in particular looked interesting to me because it had an M performance exhaust. It means I wouldn't have to spend much on an exhaust. Essentially what I would get, this is the full exhaust. Maybe I'd get a downpipe with it, maybe I'd straight pipe it, for example. But I am, or would love to get something that, again, I don't have to pay too much for, because I'm looking to do a lot. Now this one was quite interesting. It does look like the previous owner for this particular one did a few things to it. The pictures aren't very clear, but from that I could essentially see what I'm looking out for. I would have loved the wide screen that comes with these, but essentially I'm looking at a 2017 with 45,000 kilometers on the clock, and it is an M140 going for $399. What happened to this car? Is this a deal or what? I don't know, maybe the motor plan is out or something like that. Okay, I need to charge my battery. Maybe the motor plan is out or something like that. I'm not too sure, but I am quite interested in looking into this car. 250 kilowatts? Okay. All right. I am quite interested in looking into this car. Maybe the previous owner did modifications to it and lost motor plan. I'm not sure. I would have liked the wider screen that comes with that though, but this is something I'm quite interested in. Now, I'm pretty interested in this M140 that I'm looking at here, primarily because I think the price is right, but with the car itself, I am a bit suspicious. Why is it so cheap? The 140s right now are fetching for about 480 upwards. Which isn't in the scope that I'm currently looking at, but this looks quite interesting. So I would probably love to find out more about this car and just kind of see what's next here. But that's quite interesting. I'll keep it here. Let's look at what else we have. We've also got a 2015 BMW 1 Series, a 135 that is here for a similar price with more mileage. Would I go for a newer 140 instead of a 135? Probably not. If it's at the same price and there's everything right with that car, I probably wouldn't go for this specifically. I'd go for a 140. All right, what we got next is we've got a 2015 A45 over here. Now this one is going for about 450,000 with 77,000 kilometers on the clock. I'm not a fan of that rim. I would have liked another rim to come with this, and this one in terms of spec looks super plain. In terms of spec, I'd have to do a lot to this car before I even get to the engine, or I just go to the engine and create a sleeper. I'm really not sure, but this one in particular, I'm not too sure if this would be a buy for me. Again, the images, I need them to be telling of what I'm actually buying, and from a spec perspective and what I'm going to be paying to modify this car and add all the parts to it, I am going to have to pay a bit extra to get it to look mean and make it look the part. So I'm not too sure. Compared to the other options that I've seen here, it's obviously not the cheapest, and it's literally at the top of the threshold that I am looking for. But again, we've seen cars like the A45, especially this spec over here. This is not a edition 1, but we've seen similar ones doing mad things. Like there's Boss A45 doing crazy things. Shout out Bongs. But I am looking at something that's got this kind of power. I mean, we've got 280 kilowatts, and when I start to play with it, it's gonna do incredible things. It's going to do incredible things. Now, what I do have is I have got a modification list if you are looking to get an A45 that I can share with you, which is the perfect setup to get this car to do incredible time on the drag strip. Now, I'm not too sure if this particular one is one that I would get. I'm not too convinced at it yet. There are other competitors that I've seen from a price point of view and a spec perspective that I would rather investigate further. Now, I found another option, and again, I keep talking about how I'd love to have an RS3 and have the best of both worlds. And I found the cheapest RS3 on the market, or rather on Autotrader right now, and it's a 2016 Audi RS3 Sportback, and it's going for 449,000. Essentially, you can say 550,000. And look at this. It's the pre-facelift. I'm not a fan of the mileage though. The mileage is a bit high for a car that I would buy for over R500,000. But again, like, these RS3s are insane. These ones in particular, of course, have the Quattro system, which is all-wheel drive, but I heard that they've got a front-wheel drive sort of preference, although they are four-wheel drive. So in terms of sort of delivery, the shortfall here was that weighting that it had between the all-wheel drive and the front sort of wheel drive sort of weighting, where a lot of the weighting was on the front-wheel drive. Although the car itself was an all-wheel drive, but I found that a lot of owners moved from these to the new ones, which don't really have that weighting anymore, which is quite interesting. But these are incredible. I mean, look at the price. It's a 2016 with 70,000 kilometers on the clock, and it's still fetching for 550,000. These really do hold value really well. And if I was looking to get an RS3 just like this one, I know that when I do sell it at a point, I will get a decent amount for it. So that has been quite interesting, and really seeing these options that are available on Autotrader. Okay, once you have found what you're looking for, or what is really closest to what you're looking for, and what I will say is if you don't find what you're looking for, keep looking. You will find a car that's going to pop up at some point, which is why I'm always on Autotrader. So there are new deals coming up each and every day. So you could find a potential option in a day or two. So do keep looking. But once you've found what you are looking for on the platform and it is here, you can enter in your details, and I'm going to enter in my details. I don't want you guys to see them. I'm going to enter in my details and put in an inquiry just to check if the car is available, but also if I can come in and see the car. It always makes sense to me that I find a car that is within Joburg, just so I can actually go in and see the car. There are a few things that you won't see in a picture that you can see when you arrive at the dealership or arrive to the person that you are buying the car from. I often prefer to buy from dealerships because I have that warranty guarantee, and I can often go back to them and be like, your car is like not doing the things. But I always make sure that the car that I am buying does not produce those issues. I try to do my best just so it doesn't have that. But with this buy in particular, and why it's so tricky, I could buy something I'm not familiar with. But if I do buy what I have and I'm looking at in front of me right now, I will know what to look out for. But if you don't know what to look out for, make sure you go with a friend and ask them just to give the car a second look. Look at the tires, look at the bodywork, look at the leathers inside the car. And when you do begin to test drive it, just kind of feel how it drives. Don't get into the car and expect to play music loudly. Turn down the music, switch off the radio as well if you would like. But if you are a person just like me, you know, you're going to need 5 minutes just to blast that music just to see what it sounds like. But drive the car and kind of feel it out for yourself. What does it actually feel like to be in the cabin and to drive it when you turn the steering wheel? What does it feel like? Do you hear anything in particular? And if there is something to you that you don't really hear or understand, inquire about it. And when you do inquire about it, make sure it's written and in writing, and your response is in writing as well. So should anything of the like happen, God forbid, you do have it in writing, and you can always go back and say, hey, listen, I remember this and that, and as a result, I think this is an effect or whatever it is. All right. Cool, but do test drive it and play around with it. I always make sure I get into the car and I test drive it and I kind of get a feel for myself, like what it actually feels like. So I'm a praying dude, so I often get into the car and I just lay hands on it and I'm like, yo, you coming home with me? And it always happens that it does come home with me because of the faith that I keep. All right, cool. So once you've entered in your details, what you need to do is just ask them if the car's available. And of course, if you can test drive it, go there, test drive the car, take someone with you. And if you can't take a friend with you, make sure you go to your local and kind of trusted mechanic to come with you just to take a look at the car. What you can do as well is you can ask your tuner to come with you just to send a representative, or you can bring a representative with you to kind of have a look at the car. You can kind of talk about your plans for the car and what you're looking to do to the car. And your trusted tuner should be able to do that for you. And if you don't have a tuner, you could find one. There are so many. If you want me to recommend a few tuners to you, I possibly can. There are a few that I use and a handful that I trust with my cars, and I'll probably have a video that really talks about those as well. So take them with you. They can have a look at the car and they can really tell you if it is in fact a good buy, if it will be reliable and will do everything that you want it to do. So I've entered in my details for the particular car that I am interested in. The next step would be for us to start discussing and for me to really see the car. The most important thing is for me to see the car and then really take it from there. You guys could be watching a video where I am buying my next car. So I hope this video has been helpful to you guys. I've certainly enjoyed making it for you. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I'm not too sure though if I should go for like a drag racing monster or if I should get a drift machine. I don't know. Oh, it's gonna be so sick. So there is so much that we can talk about when it comes to buying cars off platforms like Autotrader. Potentially, we might even turn this into a series. Who knows? If you like this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. Comment below. Let me know, have you bought a car on Autotrader before or platforms like it? And please make sure you do subscribe. It means so much to us. Subscribe. And right next to the subscribe button is the bell icon. Click that so you never miss a video. Now, I hope you've enjoyed the latest episode of At Cars and Things. I've surely enjoyed it. So till next time, guys, stay safe and see you next time. Nah.